Okay, let's unpack this. Think about someone like Emma, maybe 15 years old.
Okay.
Not long ago, she was doing fine, happy, involved in things. School was okay.
Mm-hmm. A typical teen.
Exactly. But fast forward, maybe a year later, things have really changed. She's spending like 5 or 6 hours a day on her phone. Social media, mostly Instagram.
Wow, that's a lot of time.
It is. And seeing all these seemingly perfect lives online, it's making her feel, inadequate. She's pulling back, mood's low, grades are slipping.
And the tough part is Emma's story isn't, unique. It's happening a lot.
That's what's so worrying, the scale of it.
Yeah, the research really shows a disturbing link between, say, 2010 and 2021. We saw teenage depression rates jump 60%. 60%.
Yeah.
And suicide rates for teenage girls went up 30%. That's heartbreaking.
Oh, wow.
And this time frame, it lines up almost exactly with when smartphones became common and social media just exploded.
It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? And then, of course, the pandemic hit.
Oh, yeah. That just poured fuel on the fire.
Right. In 2021, teen screen time in the U.S. shot up by like 81%. Everyone was stuck at home.
Social media became the main way to connect. Or maybe the only way for a while.
But all that connection, it came with a cost, didn't it? People felt exhausted, sadder, even more isolated sometimes. We even got that term Zoom fatigue.
Right. That specific kind of screen burnout.
And it's not just how much time is it. It's also when we're looking at these screens.
That's a really critical point. Think about that habit so many teens have, checking the phone right before bed first thing in the morning.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
Yeah, many of us are. But it directly messes with sleep, that bright light. It tells your brain it's daytime.
Oh, okay.
Which throws off your natural sleep-wake cycle, your circadian rhythm. And we know poor sleep, it hits your mood, your energy levels hard.
And this is all happening while the teenage brain is still, under construction.
Exactly. Especially that front part, the prefrontal cortex.
That's the decision-making center, right? Emotional control.
Yeah, decision-making, impulse control, thinking about the future, all that stuff. And it's not fully wired up until you're maybe 25?
25.
Roughly, yeah. So you connect that developing brain with social media.
And you can see why things might get intense. More impulsive behavior, emotions feel stronger.
Precisely. So the pull of endless scrolling or the sting of a negative comment online, it can feel much bigger, much more overwhelming during those years.
And studies seem to show it hits teenage girls particularly hard.
Yes, the impact often appears more acute for girls compared to boys.
Why is that, do you think?
Well, a big piece seems to be social comparison. Platforms like Instagram are heavy on visuals, right? Perfect photos, curated lives.
The highlight reel.
Exactly. And it fuels this constant comparison, appearance, lifestyle, everything. Some people call it the scroll of doom.
The scroll of doom.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Endless idealized images chipping away at how you see yourself.
Right.
Like with Emma feeling inadequate.
Right. And for many girls, that need for social connection, for validation, is really strong. So feeling left out online or not getting likes or comments, it can genuinely hurt. It taps into deep social needs.
That makes sense.
Now, boys aren't immune, of course, but the negative effects might look different. Maybe more issues with gaming or cyberbullying or sometimes anger.
Okay.
But the point is, nobody's completely safe from potential downsides.
Right. And the data really flags that age group, 12 to 17-year-old girls, as being particularly vulnerable to anxiety, depression, low self-esteem from social media.
Yeah. And, our goal here isn't to scare anyone. It's about understanding, maybe fostering some self-compassion.
Absolutely. And recognizing that not all platforms are the same, right? They have different vibes, different traps, maybe.
Definitely. Let's start with Instagram. You could almost call it the land of curated perfection.
Yeah. Perfect photos, filters galore.
Lives that look amazing all the time. And the concerning thing is the strong link researchers see between this curated world and body image issues, depression, especially for teen girls.
It sets up impossible standards.
It really can. It's that upward social comparison thing, comparing yourself to people who seem better off.
Yeah.
When you never see the imperfections online, it can really warp how you see yourself.
Okay, what about TikTok? That feels different. Fun, fast.
And incredibly addictive. That algorithm is something else.
It learns what you like so fast.
It does, and it feeds you this constant stream of short videos, little dopamine hits keeping you hooked. But there's a risk there, too.
Like what?
Well, the algorithm is so good at learning, it can quickly lead you down unexpected paths. You might start watching, I don't know, cooking videos,
Right.
and suddenly you're getting fed extreme diet tips, or even content bordering on eating disorders. It's that rabbit hole effect. The
Okay.
platform's amazing ability to keep your attention can also sometimes expose you to harmful stuff. It's
Yep.
partly that unpredictable reward system, like we talked about with likes, keeps you coming back.
Gotcha. Okay, so Instagram, TikTok.
Right.
Yeah, what about Snapchat? That feels a bit more casual, maybe.
It can seem that way, but it has its own pressures. You mentioned traps. Think about streaks.
Oh, the streaks, yeah. That number showing how many days in a row you've snapped someone.
Exactly. Seems harmless, but it creates this obligation. People feel real anxiety about breaking a streak.
Even if they don't actually feel like talking that day.
Right. It turns keeping in touch into a chore, a number to maintain. And actually, TikTok has similar streak features now in its messaging, too.
Interesting. Okay, and briefly, Facebook.
Hmm.
It feels a bit,
For younger users, yeah, maybe a bit mom and dad, right?
something like that.
Gen Z isn't really there in the same way, but older generations still use it a lot. It might not be the main driver for teen mental health issues like the others, but you still see oversharing comparison happening there too.
But across all of them, there's this underlying thing. They're designed to keep you scrolling.
That's the key thing to understand. It's intentional. It's about variable rewards.
It's like a slot machine.
Kind of, yeah. You post something, maybe you get tons of likes, maybe you get crickets. That unpredictability is what hooks the brain. It keeps you checking, hoping for that next hit of validation. It's super effective at holding attention.
And the companies, they know this stuff. They know the potential downsides. The Facebook files leak suggested they did.
Absolutely. Those leaked documents were pretty revealing. They showed that Meta, for instance, knew Instagram was harming teen girls' mental health, especially body image.
Wow.
But internal discussions often seem to prioritize engagement, keeping users on the app longer, getting more likes, maybe over user well-being. These platforms are engineered, literally engineered, to capture our attention.
Okay, so the design is geared towards addiction. What does the hard science, the data, actually tell us about the impact?
Well, this is where it gets pretty sobering. There was a huge study. University of San Diego looked at over 200,000 teens.
Okay.
They found that kids spending over 5 hours a day on electronic devices were 71% more likely to have suicidal thoughts or behaviors.
71%. That's
It's-
staggering.
It's a massive correlation, and it's not just one study. Jonathan Haidt, a researcher in this area, he's looked cross-culturally.
And what did he find?
His work suggests the impact isn't the same everywhere. In cultures with stronger social supports, closer families, maybe more offline activities, the negative effects seem less severe compared to, say, more individualistic Western cultures where maybe more life happens online.
So context matters a lot. But getting a clear picture of what's really going on seems tough, right? Accessing the data.
That's a huge challenge. So much crucial data on how people use these platforms and the effects is locked away inside the tech companies.
Proprietary information.
Exactly. That leak by Frances Haugen, the former Facebook employee, it really blew the lid off that, showed Instagram's own research about harm to teen girls and the alleged lack of action because of profit concerns.
It highlighted that whole issue. So given all this, what can actually be done? What are the potential solutions?
Well, the good news is people are working on it from different angles. Some universities are trying to set up secure ways for researchers to access anonymized social media data. That's vital for independent research.
Makes sense. What about governments?
There's movement there, too. In the U.S., there's the proposed KOSA, the Kids Online Safety Act. The idea is to push platforms to share data and look at the risks for kids.
Okay.
Europe already has the Digital Services Act, which demands more transparency about algorithms and how content is moderated. And California has its age-appropriate design code, basically saying digital stuff needs to be designed with kids' best interests first.
Those sound promising. What about tools for parents, things they can do right now?
Oh, definitely. There are apps like Bark, Custodio, Apple Screen Time. They let parents monitor usage, filter content, set limits.
Right.
And there's that wait until 8th movement, too, encouraging parents to hold off on smartphones until 8th grade, roughly.
Which forces that conversation. Is my kid ready, really? Or is it just peer pressure?
Exactly. A crucial question.
And education has to be part of it, too, surely.
Absolutely critical. Look at Finland. They have a national program teaching digital literacy from a young age.
What does that involve?
Spotting fake news, checking sources, using social media responsibly. Skills everyone needs now.
Definitely.
And then there's the mental health support piece. School-based health centers are so important for giving kids accessible counseling if they're struggling with anxiety or stress from social media.
Yeah.
Even colleges like Stanford are offering digital wellness classes now, helping students build healthier tech habits.
So it sounds like the goal isn't really everyone quit social media cold turkey.
Not necessarily, no. It's more about empowerment, helping users get back in the driver's seat, making conscious choices instead of being led by the algorithm or notifications.
Regaining control.
That's the aim.
Looking ahead, what other potential solutions are on the horizon? What might the future look like?
There are some interesting ideas floating around, maybe more apps letting you hide, like, counts or options to limit that endless scroll. Gentle nudges, notifications suggesting you take a break. AI could potentially help spot harmful content or maybe even signs of depression in how someone uses the platform.
Wow. Yeah.
And on the regulation side, maybe mandatory safety checks before platforms roll out new features. Age limits based on actual brain science, not just arbitrary numbers.
Right.
Some have even floated the idea of a screen time tax. Platforms pay more if users spend excessive time, incentivizing them to design things that respect our time.
That's a radical idea.
It is, but it shows the kind of thinking that's emerging.
Okay, so bringing this all together, what's the main takeaway?
I think the core message is that social media is complex. It has upsides, sure, but the downsides, especially for mental health and particularly for young people, are serious. They demand our attention.
And for you, listening right now, if any of this resonates, if you recognize those feelings of comparison or feeling stuck scrolling, please know, first off, that's a very human thing to feel. You are definitely not alone in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's worth asking yourself, who can you talk to? Friends, family, a teacher, a counselor. Reaching out is so important. Don't hesitate.
And sometimes the simplest things help in the moment. If your phone is stressing you out, just put it down. Seriously. Get up, stretch, maybe hug a pet if you have one, call someone you care about.
Small actions can shift your state.
They really can.
Yeah.
Ultimately, this whole conversation is about empowerment, isn't it? And self-compassion.
Be kind to yourself. Remember, you have agency here. You get to decide how technology fits into your life, not the other way around. Don't let the scroll control your well-being.
Actively manage that relationship. Don't just passively consume.
Exactly. Take control back.